Hello everyone. I'm Khadija, a member of Wiki Club Aligarh Muslim University, and it's my absolute honor to be your host today. I'm elated to welcome you all to the 25th DCW Conversation Hour, a monthly open conversation by DCW or Deoband Community Wikimedia, which is a recognized affiliate of the Wikimedia Foundation. DCW focuses and supports the documentation of knowledge related to global Muslim academia, history, culture, and heritage on Wikimedia projects. It works at a global level in all the languages. In this 25th edition of DCW Conversation Hour, our guest is Satdeep Gill, who is a senior program officer at Wikimedia Foundation's Culture and Heritage Initiative. His marvelous journey includes working with the New Readers Program as Community Outreach Coordinator and being a founding member of the Punjabi Wikimedians user group. The theme of this conversation is Archives to Access, Understanding Wikisource, where we will explore how Wikisource bridges historical archives and modern accessibility. Before we begin, please note that this session is being recorded. If you have any concerns, please feel free to reach out. We'll also have an open Q&A round towards the end of the session. So with this, now I hand over the mic to Sadeep. Sadeep, the floor is yours and you're most welcome.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Khadija. I've shared the link to my slides in the chat in case some of you would like to follow along there instead on the screen, and then also you can access it later as well. So yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really delighted to join this call by DCW. And yeah, we'll be talking about Wikisource as well as Wikisource Loves Manuscripts, an initiative that I've been helping in the last couple of years. And yeah, let's explore. Let's just dive deep into it. First of all, just a general question. You might know that this answer because all of you, I think, have been in the Wikimedia ecosystem for long. Like for some of the things, like the logo in the center, like this is Wikipedia, but you also know what it represents. Like it represents an encyclopedia. And on the left, oh, yeah, sorry. I think something happened with my internet there. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
Apologies. Um, yeah. So I was talking about um I was yeah, I was talking about the logos and what they represent. Um, like Wikipedia is very obvious, it's an encyclopedia, and what it means is, we write encyclopedic entries over there. Dictionary is again kind of obvious. It's like a dictionary, but then in the wiki format. But something which is not as obvious there is that it's a dictionary from from any language of the world to a target language. For instance, if it's a Punjabi dictionary, it potentially can have words from all over the world, like from Sinhalese, where I'm sitting right now in Sri Lanka, to the Wayunaiki language in Colombia. It can include all of those words, and then their meaning would be in Punjabi, like and that in itself is something that sets it apart. Um, as there are features that sets Wikipedia apart, that there is no other dictionary in the world which would be any language in the world to a target language. That's what Wiktionary does. Um, but Wikisource is not as straightforward. Um, and that's what we're gonna just try and unpack today. Like Wikisource represents libraries in short. I guess a digital library in short, but then you don't access things that you can access in a modern library today. If you go to a physical library, there you can access, go and read anything, any popular books, novels that are out there that just release, as long as your public library or your private library has uh, a copy of it, you can go and access it there. But on Wikisource, you can only access texts which are out of copyright and or freely licensed. So that makes it a bit restrictive in the sense than a public or a private library, because copyright exists, and as much as I hate them, we cannot bypass them. But yeah, with that, we'll come back to this. Like, what it represents. It's not quite obvious. It's not quite clear, and it's not what I just shared. Even libraries, it's not absolute. This okay, um, but it does represent something really important. You bring in Wikisource, you bring in source texts, entire books, entire, fiction, non-fiction, you name it, and Wikisource exists in 80 plus languages. So it was initially designed to be a repository of source text, which then help add citations or sources or references to Wikipedia and other projects. And even today, it serves a lot of that purpose that, from Wikisource, you get new words added to Wiktionary, to Wikidata, to Wikicode, even, and Wikipedia also. But then all of these other projects do have other sources that they can access. But Wikisource does form a crucial part of that. So it's kind of part of an essential infrastructure, from which other things kind of build up. If we don't have access to source material, we won't be able to build an encyclopedia or a dictionary. And this is what Wikisource, these are the languages that Wikisource has. To just look at it, some of the major languages of the world. No major surprises there, unless you can see there is one surprise in these languages, one major language that's missing. I'm going to talk about that. But otherwise, more or less, all kind of most spoken languages with kind of very active online communities. Most of them are here. They have their own Wikisource projects. So this is wikisource.org, or known as the multilingual Wikisource, which kind of lists all the different languages that are there. But if you scroll down a bit on that page, then you see that there are many different languages that are being incubated at multilingual Wikisource. So many new languages are being formed here. And if you kind of check at the bottom of in the final row here, you will see the language that I've been talking about, a major language still missing from Wikisource. Can anyone guess? Someone, you feel free to unmute yourself or even type in the chat. Do you want to guess which major language am I talking about here? Someone wrote Hindi. No, Hindi. It's actually written there. You're right. But Hindi has its own Wikipedia, its own Wikisource, and it was like 2018. And Afi knows it because we've been having this chat for a long time. Urdu is the language which doesn't have a wiki source yet. Um, and this is on the multilingual um, Wikisource, kind of the incubator space. The Urdu Wikisource in the making, it's possible. It has its kind of small little incubator. All it needs is some people who are really interested, who want to build this new resource um, in Urdu language. And we can get started with it. We just need 3 people who are really keen on bringing this together. And I'll share more about why this is really crucial, why this is very important. But yeah, I just wanted to start with this, especially because one of the official languages of the Deoband community is Urdu. And we also have some rare books, rare Urdu books, which are already, we have PDFs of them. They are already on Commons. Most of them, the PDF that the page that I've screenshot that I've shared here, most of them were shared by Rekhta Foundation. So we talked to them, we shared with them what the vision of Wikisource is, and that resonated with them as well. And they shared these quite interesting texts like Betal Pachisi in Urdu, which sounds really interesting. And even Bago Bahar, one of my favorite texts. Those texts are here in form of scanned texts. And we can work with them on Wikisource and bring those rare editions online. And yeah, in case it's not clear, obviously, for some of you it might not be. I will be talking about what that means in the next slides. So okay, let's understand Wikisource now with that context. How many languages, and also the absence of Urdu. What does the Wikisource looks like? So this is English Wikisource. If you go to English Wikisource today, this is what you will find because I just took this screenshot. And so you'll basically get a featured text, which is a new text that for this month the Wikisource editing community has brought up. You can read it here, you can download it in various formats, and you also have on the right-hand side some of the new texts that they've also been working on and brought them online. So this is, for example, one of the texts on Wikisource, and you will also see a download button. If you click on it, you can download them, any text in these formats. So if you were reading on some ebook readers or other devices, or you want to print them, so all the different formats are there. You can read directly on the Wikisource website as well. And one thing, really interesting development that's happening right now, this reminds me, and I didn't add an update about that in the slides, is that there is a Wikisource Android app, a Wikisource Reader app for Android that's currently in development and should come out really soon. So stay tuned for that. Watch out for that. But yeah, you can download them in multiple formats. Entire texts is what it's about. While on uh, while on Wikipedia, you'll only read a summary of what this text is about. You'll read some critical opinion about it. This is where you'll find the entire text as well. But if you scroll down on the main page, you will see there are collaborations going on. So people are working together to bring new texts online. As you see, there is proofread of the month, and there is also a lot of other ways to explore Wikisource. Finding by authors, by genre, by nationality. So all the different subjects, you can find a whole lot of texts on Wikisource and across many different languages. Yeah, I'll just show you now we're getting deep into what the community on Wikisource does. So this is, once you have a whole scanned PDF, and I'm not going into the digitization um, workflow here, but let's just say someone has scanned a PDF. A lot of scanning has been done by different partners. Google has done a lot of scanning. Internet Archive does a lot of it. So if you find a scanned text that's out of copyright, you bring them to Wikimedia Commons, which is where media goes. But then Wikisource, you bring it here, you just link to the Commons file, you bring it here, and the work it does, it divides that PDF or that scanned file into every single page. As you can see, there is a numbering here. And so you then work on that every single page. So Wikisource contributors are then the meticulous task that they perform is reading um, the text on the right-hand side, the image on the right-hand side, and transcribing the text on the left-hand side. But don't be worried. You're not going to, in most cases, you're not going to type everything from scratch because we have optical character recognition, easily known as OCR, which is the technology that looks at an image, kind of like artificial intelligence. It looks at an image and it guesses, um, obviously with a lot of information that's helping it guess. It looks at an image and it tells you what it thinks is in that image. But then it obviously isn't 100% perfect and it's going to go make mistakes. And that's where Wikisource contributors come in. They correct those mistakes. They also, in many wikis, are then annotating the text, which is, for instance, if you look at this text here, we dined at Stuklingen. Um, I'm not sure what is that. Is that a place? Is that a restaurant? We're not sure. So what Wikisource contributors then would do is find what it is, link to if there is a Wikipedia article, link to it. If there's not a Wikipedia article, there's some entry on Wikidata, they link to it. So in that way, make this a richer text, more than what's just there in the image. And they'll also, if there are some words that are difficult, they'll add to a Wiktionary or to lexemes. And this kind of also then helps create generative AI models. And Wikisource is being used for those purposes as well. Let me see, there are some comments in the chat. Yeah, we'll come back to those questions in the end. Okay, so yeah, this is what proofreading is about. And so yeah, if we look at this, workflow, it's not just a library where you bring something, you keep it for for readers, they can come access and go. This is more. This is not just that. So what I would think of it as is, just looking at what Wikisource does is more like a free bookstore with a workshop in behind it where people are working and bringing those new books to the readers at the front, but they are meticulously working there. They're not just buying things and displaying, which is done at a library. This is a much more engaging work that they do and a much more energy that's being spent here. So yeah, with that kind of a brief context, I'll talk about something that I think has been a lot of value to some of the underrepresented communities, which is Wikisource loves manuscripts. So you see what the Wikisource infrastructure does. You give it image, use some technology, which is called OCR, and you get some text, clean it or make corrections to it, and then you publish it for readers. So we were inspired by the Balinese community. So Bali, an island of Indonesia, really popular. But one of the things lesser known is that they have a really vibrant manuscript culture from many centuries. People have been writing on these palm leaf manuscripts, and they digitized a lot of it. Internet Archive helped them digitize a lot of it 15 years ago, but they were all sitting in Internet Archive in form of scanned images, difficult to access, not not coming up in search engines. And that's where Wikisource came in, helping them with that in that process. And so we were inspired by the Balinese community, and we wanted to see if this is an approach that would work for other languages. And so we scaled it up a little within Indonesia first, in three different regions of Indonesia. We worked with a research institution over there and the local Wikimedia affiliate, Wikimedia Indonesia. And in a year, we were able to digitize a vast number of pages. And digitize here, I mean scan. Uh, and we also engaged quite a few number of people. Although the number of transcriptions still is, that's going to take a lot of time. I'll share what has been the main reason about the transcription being slow. But first, that we also had formed many amazing partnerships to support this initiative. We worked with the British Library, which has already been, kind of already been a partner because they've worked with some other communities in the Wikimedia ecosystem. So we talked to them that we're doing this pilot in Indonesia. And then we said that how we can collaborate, and they ended up sharing 76 Javanese manuscript. So Javanese again is a language of the Java island, one of the biggest language spoken there besides Indonesian. And they gave these manuscripts, which were digitized by them, are a part of their collection. But they shared all of them did all of those files, scan files with us, and basically with the Javanese community, which are now accessible on our platform on Wikimedia Commons. And then, right, we're now also exploring what are the collaborations we can form with them. And the second thing is that we partnered with transcribers. Remember, I told you about optical character recognition, where you give it an image and it gives you text. It works really well when it's, in English or another language that's written in Latin script. Basically in ABC, if it's written in that, it works really well because that's where a lot of work has been happening around this technology, or like in other European languages. But OCR doesn't work well in Southeast Asian languages or in other languages, in other scripts, especially when it is about handwritten text, which is the case here because we are working with manuscripts, so they are even more difficult. So that's where we partnered with Transcribers, which is a service, and it's run by a cooperative based in European Union. And what it promises is if you give it enough training data, you can create a model in any language. And a model means a handwritten text recognition model in any language. You just give it enough images and manually transcribe data initially. So some work has to be done there, a substantial amount of work. But once you do it, once you train it, you can then create a model on your own. Like you don't need to depend on someone else doing it. You, as citizen archivists, can do it. So we integrated this. It's a paid service, but we integrated it into Wikimedia OCR, into Wikisource in short. And we also got a vast number of free credits from them to use it uh, for our community. So it's accessible. Once you create a model, you just need to request adding that model into Wikisource and you are able to access it. And we also partnered finally with UNESCO. They supported the launch event and also, also have been helping us with promoting this event. So this is what we were looking at. This is a Javanese manuscript. So we used transcription, we took it and we tried to create a model for it. We took three different manuscripts like this, and you can see how complex this writing is compared with other other writings. And so and most Indian handwritings are also similarly complex. Our scripts have a lot of text above and below the line. And unfortunately, this experiment did not succeed. We were not, as transcribers had promised, we were not able to create a really amazing model here as they. But then we didn't stop. We pivoted. We talked with the Javanese community that this is happening. We don't have enough training data because we did not have a vast number of pages, and we talked with transcribers also, so we needed more training data, probably. But then the Javanese community said, but we don't have a model even for print texts, like let alone talk about handwritten text. We don't have an OCR, optical character recognition, for books which are printed, and print is easier than handwritten text. So creating that model is easier. So we said, okay, yeah, let's build that first, and probably that will help. Like once we have this model, if this works, then creating a handwritten model probably will be easier. And then we worked, we built a model. It's now published, and super interestingly, the results are also great. This is an example of this model working on Javanese Wikisource, and yeah, it doesn't, like, obviously no one here reads Javanese, I guess, unless a Javanese contributor has joined, but I'm guessing not. But I can assure you, I talked to them and they say that this is pretty good. This is not bad, the results that's there. So I confirmed with someone that this is working well. So we had some success there. So with that pilot, we also thought, okay, yeah, it seems like this, manuscripts are really important. We need to preserve them. We need to bring them to the audience. We need to bridge that gap. Can we work with other communities? Can we encourage other communities to also work with manuscripts? So the Wikimedia Foundation, we gave a call for participation, and there were more than 100 applications to join this network of people who are interested in working with manuscripts. And I think at least one person is here. Yes, Wikimedia Libya, which is Nanur, who is part of the network. So these were 22 people we selected from 7 different regions, 15 different languages. We gave them trainings on how to build a partnership, how to use transcribers, how to use Wikisource even. And we also have digitization guidelines. We gave it all to help these communities get started. And now Wikisource is going global. Now we're seeing beyond um, beyond Indonesia. In Philippines, we see that a participant in the training went on to work with other languages in the Philippines, and they were able to launch a new Wikisource in Central Bicol language. So that's been a success story. And there's also been a successful grant from the Assamese community in India. And they're also planning to work with understanding which different languages, which scripts they are in, and probably they'll also try to transcribe them further on Wikisource. So this is from that network. But then more partners are also working with Wikisource, especially with Wikisource Loves Manuscripts, in which in short we're calling Wilma. And you see on the left-hand side here um, are folios of a manuscript digitized by Archive Nepal. Archive Nepal is an organization based in Nepal as well as US, and their mission is to work with to create a digital archive of various different things around Nepal. And this is this image is from one of the manuscripts that they've uploaded already in the Nevari language, one of the major languages of Nepal, also known as Nepal Bhasha, in which no Wikisource exists yet. So this is really, foundational work that they're doing. And on the right-hand side is a university in India called the Jadavpur University, which has been for the last decade or so have been working a lot around digitization, especially with the British Library. They're also one of the hub of the British Library's Endangered Archive program. So they're the center of their South Asian hub. And this is the first digitization and as well as Wikisource transcription workshop. This image is from them from this January itself that they held at their campus, where the training was provided by our own Wikisource and Wikidata and Bodhisattva. And why do I mention these two partners? Because the Wikimedia Foundation, with its Knowledge Equity Fund, funded these two along with many others, but funded these two partners to work with manuscripts and especially with Wikisource. And now we're supporting them, connecting them with communities, um, and also giving them some training on how to use how to contribute to our platforms. And this has just been amazing. We're really looking forward to what happens next here. And then other communities also beyond what the training that we provided to, beyond what the foundation has been funding, they're just generally growing love for Wikisource. And this is Malay Wikisource, one of the newest Wikisource launched last year on 30th of April, as you can see here. And there is a dedicated volunteer there who's been working with manuscripts of his own accord, just loving it. Heard about it from some contributor, just said, yeah, let's work with manuscripts on Wikisource. So yeah, and that's something that more languages are invited to embrace. This is a key feature that most other digital libraries don't have, the ability to transcribe, the ability to work with different formats, and especially with the really important, very endangered format of literary heritage, which is manuscripts. And finally, again, we have Nanur here, who is the conference lead. We have the biggest Wikisource gathering happening in 10 years. The last one was in 2015 in Austria. And this time, in 2025, next month, in Bali, we are having the second Wikisource conference. We're really looking forward to it. There is, I hope it's going to be an engaging conference for the participants. And we're going to come up with a roadmap for Wikisource, an actionable roadmap. What are we going to do in the next 1 to 3 years? which languages, let's say, are we going to support? Which partners are we going to work with? How are we going to improve our technology, our infrastructure, what governance model? All of these things are going to be part of it. And it's poised to be an amazing event. Um, I'm looking forward to it, and you should also look forward to at least the updates, what's going to happen there, and look forward to the report if you're not going to attend it. But I know there are a few people here who are going to attend it, like Kavita, who's also going to the conference. And yeah, with that, I end my presentation. I'll open up for questions. You can reach out to me on my email, which is sgill@wikimedia.org. And in short, to the DCW team, I just encourage you. I hope this has been um, useful, and you kind of start thinking about a Wikisource in Urdu language. With that, thank you so much. Let's open up for questions.
Thank you so much, Satdeep. And now we open the floor for the Q&A session. If you have any doubts, queries, or suggestions, please drop them in the chat box or just simply raise your hand verbally. We will ensure that your question is addressed.
I would want to return back to the question that was dropped somewhere in the chat box by Kavita. How to join the collaboration proofreadathon? And I can have similar kind of question. How do such communities work in Wikisource and how can one participate? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think this is it's just they pick a text, okay, that we're going to work on this, and then volunteers are just invited to go there and start proofreading. I think this is differs from community to community. Like some communities, you can have it more organized, that you can work with different people and assign them separate text. This is a practice that the Punjabi Wikisource community is employing right now. That we have one contributor from Punjabi community listed about 20 texts, which are almost complete, not fully, and can be completed soon. Someone started and left them in between, and then talk to the other different community members and ask them to sign up and pick one text each. So there is no one model on how to collaborate with the community, and you can create your own model in your community. So Kavita, in Tulu, if you want to work with um, your community in some way, you feel free to, figure out what works best for you.
Um, Thank you, Sadeep, for answering. We have another question from Sanjeev Chaudhary. He's asking that to add to Wikisource, should the manuscript be an ancient one or can be any new publication as well?
Yeah, that's a good question, a really good question, Sanjeev. So usually it has to be something which was published, to be on the safe side. Something published more than 100 years ago, you can easily upload on Wikisource. There are some caveats there. So usually that's the case. If there is a new publication that you're keen to bring in, which is also some communities have been working with them, what you need to do there is talk with the author who's written that specific book, let's say, and you'll need to get them to relicense it, which is a statement from them saying that they are happy to release this book uh, under a Creative Commons license that is compatible with Wikisource and Wikimedia projects. As long as you're able to do it, you can bring in new books. And there's been a vast number of such new publications on Marathi, in Tamil, Telugu, Punjabi, of these many languages. They've worked with directly with individuals, with organizations like the Tamil Virtual Academy. Um, just the Tamil community worked with them, and the Tamil Virtual Academy said that all the works published with government funding will be directly in a Creative Commons license, and they were able to bring them to Wikisource. I hope that answers your question. Feel free to get in touch if you have, um, yeah, if you
Yeah.
have further clarifications.
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep. So I guess if I mean, like, if there are not many questions, I would again like to ask another question, because we have come across one of the manuscripts in Western Tharu language, which is around like 62 years old. But the thing is that some of the pages have been damaged by water. So, and it's all handwritten. So I guess not 100 years, but it's around 62 years. So that's one question. And then another question that I wanted to ask was, Archive Nepal is working together with UDEF to come up with new books on Kusunda language, which is like an isolated language, and like there's only one fluent speaker right now. And the new participants who have learned to speak Kusunda, they have come up with like, they will be coming up with 10, 10 books. So, I mean, like, I guess Archive Nepal is already working with Wikisource, but I mean, like, would Wikisource like to get those books as well into its library? Because I mean, like, it's isolated language, and I'm like, there are like only 173 Kusunda people right now. So yeah, that's it, I guess. Thanks.
Yeah, some good two questions. I'll come to the Archive Nepal one first. I think yeah, that's a good idea. Since Archive Nepal has been developing and working with developing these resources, we can actually work with them. If you are already in touch with them with this project, or I'll get in touch. But we can actually suggest to them to upload them on Wikisource as for a more longer term engagement possibility here, that the Kasunda community can also engage with this, so they get started into building their own presence on the internet with the Wikisource, and probably if Kasunda language catches on, they go to Wiktionary and hopefully even a Wikipedia at some point, if the speakers increase. So yeah, that's one thing. Gonna yeah, well, talk to Archive Nepal on that front. And about the other manuscript, I just checked the copyright rules for Nepal. For everyone else, if you would also like to check, the rules are on commons. Um, you can check by territory. So in Nepal, if a thing has been, um, yeah. So if you don't know the author, and it's an anonymous text, basically, there's no name of the author, then the text goes out of copyright after 50 years after the publication. But in the case you know who wrote that text, who was the author, then it is 50 years after the death of that person. So it's, yeah, basically you'll have to check the local copyright laws at least. And then we can work with it. We can figure out what's the next best steps. But yeah, feel free to get in touch once you have further details on this, Sanjeev, and anyone else if you're interested in working with Wikisource.
Hi.
Yes, Kavita.
Actually, all the slides what you have displayed is of manuscript which is written in palm leaves or something else, not the printed ones, right? I thought you were speaking only about that. So isn't it?
No. In the first when I showed English Wikisource, those were printed books only.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
palm leaves we have done because you helped us so much to get our Wikisource, Tulu Wikisource. It is so nice for us. We are working on it. Same way, manuscripts, I mean, other than printed ones, If it is there are, I came to know there are manuscripts which are written in palm leaves, handwritten ones. So how to convince them to get into Wikisource? Because they won't agree. I know they have the collection museum, they have in some institutions they have created archives. So there is some people who because they wanted people to come there and visit. So I don't know whether they are ready to give us for this Wikisource. So how to convince them, how to make them understand, please?
Yeah, that's a classic problem in South Asia, I would say, and in many other under-resourced languages where institutions don't understand the value of putting things out there. Um, so like that even increases the number of people that actually go to their there's a potential of increase in the number of footfall in the institutions if they put their collections up, contrary to what they believe. But yeah, anyways, I think one approach that worked for the community in Bali um is that, but they were working not with institutions, but less, but more with individual custodians. So individuals who have been for generations taking care of these manuscripts, but mainly from priest families. But they worked with them, and what they did was they 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 told them that they're also not just taking something from them, they will also give them a digitized copy of each of the manuscript. They're also going to make sure that they clean it properly, they got all the training, and make sure that it's preserved for a longer duration. Because manuscript preservation is also really important, crucial thing. If you don't do it, then it's also going to destroy soon. So that's something. Something you can talk to them about, digitizing the collections for them and giving them a free copy, and then also um, get a trained archivist, and someone who has that training, basically with taking care of manuscripts with you, and probably if the institution doesn't have an archivist of their own, probably this kind of something can help them to convince. But still, it's not going to be very easy. I suggest you also get in touch with the partnerships manager um, in India, South Asia partnerships manager Praveen Das, because many times these institutions don't have the authority of their own to even um, give you the permission to digitize, and that has to come from the government sometimes or some official department. So that's where working with a partnerships manager can help. I hope that helps. Looking forward to what Tulu Wikisource accomplishes. For everyone else's the information, Tulu Wikisource is um, one of the newest Wikisource, I guess, which we helped it launch it in October 2024. So just a few months old right now.
I also have a question that there are some languages that have limited digital support or tools, and which like only a minority uses that language. For example, local languages, or for instance, say Pashto, which is the language of Afghanistan, and a minority in Pakistan also speaks that, and it's not in Wikisource. So, how does Wikisource tackle the challenge of digitizing those texts?
So it's like Wikisource is not an entity on its own. It is the Pashto community or the respective governments or other non-profits organization who is going to first scan uh, and digitize those texts. And the second thing, which is putting them on Wikisource and transcribing them, there is no team which is going to do it. it has to be someone from the Pashto community who can read and who will be who is fluent in that language. They have to build that community and get that content online. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Any more questions from anyone?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, maybe maybe I'm out of scope, but I noticed a technical little bug in the interface of Wikisource when you use the italics button in the bar over the edit windows. Is it working on every other Wikisource, and is it buggy only in Italian Wikisource, or is it or does it give problems also in other Wikisources?
Okay. So basically, the italics button is not working. You
Okay,
say.
and another question is about the match and split extension. Is it going to be fixed, or shall we consider it gone?
I unfortunately don't have an answer for that. I think you can ask that question on the Wikisource global chat. Probably some of
Okay.
the technical folks can answer it. About the italics button on top of Wikisource, I just tried on Punjabi Wikisource. That seems to work there. So it
Okay.
probably is
It probably is an all Italian problem. Okay.
exactly.
No, I suspected it. I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask for confirmation. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I would have something else to ask, but I know I'm late. So if someone else has something to ask, I will listen.
Thank you. Okay. So we have um, a request for mentorship to know more and work with Wikisource. So let me share a link for to join the Wikisource global community. There are about 330 members there. So you can use that link. You can join that Telegram group and ask any questions that you have related to Wikisource. If it's about Wikimedia Kenya, which and an affiliate, then this group is probably not the right place. Then you would need to ask further on the Wikimedia general chat. I think probably someone is able to help you there. I'll share the link to join that group as well in the chat. There you go. I hope these answer your query and you're able to find support. You're most welcome.
So I hope that all of the questions have been answered and we come closer to conclude the session. So before concluding, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our esteemed guest Satdeep Gill for sharing his invaluable insights and the beautiful presentation with so much explanation that it was very beneficial for all of us. And I'm very much fortunate to to have us with you today. And I'm certain that this would be beneficial for us. So huge thanks to you and all the participants for your active engagement. I must acknowledge that your presence have truly made it successful. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to seeing you at the next DCW Conversation Hour soon.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, Satdeep. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.